Say, how you doing today? How are you doing today? You already know I'm your host, Lacey G. Souldier Turner, and today I have a very special guest with me. She is a stage and screen television actress, amazing director, amazing producer. Her career has spanned over 3 decades in the industry. She has appeared in more than 150 film and television productions. She is a 9-time NAACP Image Award nominee. She just been doing a lot of great things, and we finna, get to talk with her today. So, without further ado, I want to welcome to the platform the wonderful, amazing, talented Vanessa Bell Calloway. Welcome to the platform.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good today. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for asking.
Okay, so before we get into what you've been doing lately, I want to let the people get to know a little bit about you. So, can you let the people know where were you born and raised, and how was your upbringing as a child?
Oh, wow. Well, I was born in Toledo, Ohio, but I was
Mm,
raised in Cleveland, Ohio. And my upbringing was very basic. Cleveland is a very basic white collar town. So basically, you went to school, you came home, did your homework, got up and did it all over again. Um, I mean, back in the day, these kids have so much to do on the weekends. We really didn't. If you went to a party, honey, that was a big thing. You planned for that party for weeks. But very basic. Then I went to Ohio University, which is 4 hours from Cleveland. It's in Athens, Ohio, and I used to go to back and forth to New York a lot. That was my thing. I loved. I was got my bachelor of fine arts in dance, so I
mm,
danced, and I would go to New York because one summer I got a scholarship at Alvin Ailey, so I used to go back and forth in my summer breaks and Christmas breaks, excuse me, so that I could continue studying with Alvin Ailey, and I did that, and yeah, so that got me to New York, which got me on Broadway, which got me
mm.
soap operas, which got me a lot of things. And I got to LA to pursue even more of my career to get even better and bigger jobs, which thank God did happen, and here I am.
Okay. So I know you said you did dancing. So how was that transition from like dancing into acting?
It's really an easy transition because dancing is acting without a voice. I
Mm,
mean, if anybody that understands concert dancing, and I'm not talking like hip hop, that type, but even hip hop tells a story. When you see these young kids hip hopping and doing stuff, they're telling a story.
mhm,
They're just not verbalizing it, but their bodies are telling it. That's their instrument. Whereas an actor's instrument obviously is their voice. They're acting as a singer. They emote like an opera is a whole story through song. So it really wasn't a hard transition. And I also acted. I'm part of the Caramoo House, which is a renowned, one of the first Black regional theaters in the country,
mm.
the Caramoo House in Cleveland, Ohio. That's where I started. So I did plays there. I did plays in high school. So I mean, I always acted. I danced, but I acted as well. And I just made a full fledged, jump from just dancing and acting to basically just acting after a while.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So I want to talk about, what I'm saying, your big breakout role that a lot of people know you from, the barking and hopping like a dog and all that,
That
Princess
was my breakout
Imani.
role, though. That
Come
wasn't a breakout role. People think that was my first movie and that was my breakout role. It was not. My first movie was a movie called Number One with the Bullet with Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Oh, Billy
Yes,
D.
I had to a couple of times in my career. A couple of times. He was amazing. He's amazing. But that was my very first film with him. And then my breakout role was All My Children.
Okay.
That's
Oh
my
yeah,
first
the soap
role.
operas.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was before I did Coming to America.
Okay. Well, how did you get the role, of Princess Imani in Coming to America?
Well, I auditioned like everybody else. Number one, um, I auditioned for Lisa because that's the role that I wanted. That was the big role. And
Yeah.
but when I met the director, he asked me to go read for the part of the princess, which
Mhm.
reluctantly I did because I wasn't getting Lisa. So I said okay, and you sometimes in your auditions, it's called a cold read
Mhm.
where they'll just give you the material and give you time to go outside for a few minutes and prepare it. So that's why all you aspiring actors out there got to learn how to cold read because you will be given a cold read. And so I was given that, and I had to go out and I had to make something of it. I had to come back in and read it for them. So that was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this? But I figured it out.
Gotcha. So I want to talk about I know because you did so many films, just one more old film. What's love got to do with it? I love your role in there, especially when you was like, you ain't got to hit me but once. You know what I'm saying? So, how did that role come about? From
Well, I was doing a TV show at the time, um, and Angela, pretty much had the part they wanted Angela to be Tina Turner, and I was in a TV show, and the casting director Ruben Cannon, who's still a friend of mine to this day, they sent me the script and asked me to read the part of Jackie. Well, at the time, Jackie's role wasn't really developed. It was kind of like, I mean, hardly anything there. So
yeah,
I told them, I said, thank you very much. I'm very happy for Angela, but I didn't have any desire to be doing this very tiny role, in
yeah.
this movie. And they said, no, 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 no. The part's gonna be changed. We're gonna. I said, oh, okay. Well,
Like in that
so
case, come on.
yeah, in that case, you gonna fix it up, yeah. So basically, they offered it to me, and I did it, and it was yes, as you know. But I'm gonna tell you a funny story about that I haven't really told a lot of people.
Okay,
Lawrence
exclusive.
Burns, he slapped me for real, accident,
Wow.
accidentally. When you do takes like that is a lot of times the stunt people will do it, but then a lot of times the actors can do it too, because it's just like if I take my hand, then my face, the other person's
Yeah,
face snaps with that.
yeah,
So, and the way the camera's angle, it'll look like it's a slap, and then they add the sound and later. So we had done it a couple of times because it's kind of hard to have the stunt person
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
Then they got to jump out, and you got to jump, roll up, and
Yeah.
act like you've been hit. It's like it's the energy and the adrenaline of doing the whole scene just makes sense. And with my training from soap operas, I've had to throw myself across tables, fall.
Yeah,
So, and I'm a dancer, so I know how to use my body. So I was like, I'm gonna do this by myself. Y'all don't mind. I don't want to have the stunt double because it's just.
yeah.
So he and I did it several times, several takes, and it was fine. One take, we lost our eye contact, and that's very important when you do stuff like this. For some reason, we lost our eye contact. I didn't snap quick enough, and he came flying. I mean, he hit the poop out of me. I was crying, and it was stinging, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But the other side was like, "Oh my god, keep going. This is gonna be so good." So I kept going. I got up and I did the scene, and that's what they use. That's the one they use.
Uh, say, you ain't got to hit me but once for real. No.
Exactly.
Okay. So I want to talk about one thing. You always give a lot of inspiration. And I know one time you was talking about believing in yourself, and you was talking about doing letters from Zora, which was like a 90-minute monologue. So can you talk about that and talk about how important it is for believing?
Yeah, like a 90 minute. Yeah, I guess it was like an hour 90 minutes. It's like an hour and a half. Um, yeah, that was just one of the best things and the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. And I'm a theater actress. I started in theater, like I said, at Caramel House, and I did Broadway, and I've done plays in between. And Gabrielle Pina, who wrote this piece beautifully, she at the time was a professor at USC, and she's also my sorority sister, aka. And we didn't know each other, but she was getting in touch with me for a to host our founders event. And she had written this piece unbeknownst to me, and she said she had me in mind when she wrote it. And so after we became friendly of talking about this particular event, she said, "Hey, I got this play I would like you to read. I said, "Sure, I'll read it." And she explained it to me, and I read it, and I was like, "Oh my God." It blew me away because not only was it beautifully written, but it was like what it would require of me to do. I knew I had to say yes.
Mm,
And so I said, absolutely. And we had several months to prepare, and it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever done and one of the most challenging, but I did it and I rose to the top with it, and I did it for on and off for 10 years. So
mm,
yeah, that I mean, if as I tell my children, and I have to sometimes take my own advice, if it scares you, run towards it. And it scares the out of me because it was a 30 some page monologue,
mm,
30 some pages that you just don't memorize. You've got to tell the story. It's got to be in your body. It's got to be,
mm.
you got to become it.
Yes.
And just memorizing 30 pages alone can be daunting and frightening, but I did.
Salute to you up in this. I want to talk about this also. I know somewhere you was talking about finding the value in the valley, where you saying like that sometimes gigs can run out and you have to rediscover yourself. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, I could talk about that more than I do. Yeah. Why you stepping on my toes today?
Listen.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's the truth. I mean, and I find that it's a recurring thing. It doesn't just come once in your life. Unfortunately it recurs. And you just got to look at your situation and say, okay, why do I feel this way? Why are things going this way? What am I learning from this? What is the lessons I'm supposed to take from this? And how can I regroup and strengthen? And you can feel sad or depressed or whatever about whatever situation for a minute, but then at some point you got to rise out of it and find that value in the valley and
Mhm,
rebuild and keep moving.
mhm,
So yeah, I mean, it's happened to me
mhm.
several times.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got one more question before I get into your movie. So, at the age of 52, you were diagnosed with breast cancer. How did you conquer that? Because I just lost a friend, last year to cancer, and
Oh, sorry to hear that.
yeah. But how did you conquer that? What advice can you give to other people going through that?
Well, one of the first things when I found out I had breast cancer, of course, one of the first things I said is, "Oh, why me?" Then the other side of my brain said, "Why not you? You're really not that special." So the first thing is you got to accept that none of us are, empty, from it. We all can get whatever.
Mhm,
Just like you can catch a cold, you can catch other diseases, whatever that may be, because we're not exempt from it. We're not better than anybody else. It's not like you can get sick, your friend can die, but I shouldn't.
yeah.
So once I accepted that I was one of the many people that just got it that year or that month or that time, and that it was going to be the way that I decided it was going to be. So I took charge of it, and I told myself I had cancer, and I didn't let cancer have me. And that helped me a great deal because I wasn't going to let it control my life. I was going to control how I was going to be treated. Uh, I controlled everything about it. Even when I had the surgery, because I asked the doctor, I said, "Am I going to die?" And he said, "No." I said, "Because if I'm going to die, it don't make no difference. I'm going to do
Yeah.
what I want to do. And if I'm not going to die, I'm going to do what I want to do." Because I knew that once I started that process, it was a road to, you can't stop.
Yeah.
It's like a domino effect. That
Mhm,
first surgery, you get that first cut, and then that's everything is on and popping. So
mhm,
what I did is I told them when we were going to have the surgery, because at the time both of my daughters were one daughter was a sophomore in college and one was a sophomore in high school, and they had some things coming up, and I had some things coming up. It was like that October, and I wanted to complete all the stuff because I was like, well, if I'm gonna die, I ain't gonna miss it,
mhm.
and if I'm not gonna die, I'm still not gonna miss it. So like I was crazy. I looked at the calendar. I said, "This is the date that we will do the surgery because I'm busy these other weeks. I don't have time yet. So
Mhm,
this is when I have time." And they said, "Oh, okay." And I told them other things that I wanted, and it worked out. And I gave myself something to look forward to all the time, and that's really helped me. That's what I really tell people going through anything that you're recovering, because and staying in those moments and those days can be so depressing. You're at home, you're in the bed, you
yeah.
know, you're just feeling like ugh, and, and you get to cry and you get to feel that way because that's valuable. You have to kind of get through that in order to get on the other side of it. But what I did is I look forward, like the doctor gives you a schedule, like on so many weeks you could drive and so many weeks you could work out and so many weeks this can happen. And I started saying, okay, this is a bad day now, but this time next week I'm gonna feel better and I'll be able to do da 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 da. And this time 2 weeks I'll be able to do. So I
Yeah.
kept going forward. And the next thing I look up, it was 2 weeks had passed, and
Mhm,
I'm feeling a little better. I'm like, okay, now next week I'll be able to, or two, and I just kept doing it like that. And then one time I said, this time next year, I'll be here before I know it, and it'll be like a year ago. Shoot, I look up, it's 15 years. I'm like, crazy. And sometimes I forget I even had cancer until people remind me.
Yeah.
So I just constantly gave myself something to look forward to, as I do in life in general. I always try to give myself something to look forward to because it just makes it better, at least for me. not to stay in that space. And not that there's always something wrong. It's just that I just think even like little things like, oh, I'm really looking forward to going this weekend with my friends out to dinner. Like
Mm,
I'm going out, I'm taking my daughters out to dinner tonight. I've been looking forward to that for the last 3 days because
mm,
I just think it keeps you in a happy place when you have something that you're looking forward to doing or so
gotcha.
forward going or something. So that's something that I apply not only through my cancer healing and journey, but it's just in my life in general.
Mm, okay, I like that. I like that. So let's get into what you've been doing lately. You know what I'm saying? You was in the Sony movie One of Them Days, opposite of Kiki Palmer and SZA, you know what I'm saying, two of my favorite people. How did you get the role of Mama Ruth, and how did you enjoy like being on that set?
Well, first of all, I'm just so happy for Kiki, and I saw Kiki last night at a dinner, and we
Mm,
were all very happy. And I saw some of the other producers there, and everybody's very happy with the success of the movie. But
mm,
the my daughter, well, my oldest daughter Ashley works at with Issa Rae's company. She's a literary manager, and she's also a talent manager, and she manages the director, she manages the writer, and she's manages one of the managers for one of the talents in the movie. But that's not how I got it.
okay.
Director Lawrence Lamont, he's a friend of my daughter's, and also she manages him, and he's been in my home for dinner. And he told me that about 3 years ago, because they've been working on this for a long time.
Mm.
And he told me about 3 years ago, he said, Ashley, your mother would make a great Mama Ruth. And when I told Ashley that, she said, "Ma, he did say that. I totally forgot he said that." You know, and cause then they went on because they were developing the movie. They had a lot to get the movie done. And so when it came out, my manager submitted my name like everybody else was getting submitted, and it went back and forth. And I didn't get it right away. It took a minute. They were trying to
Yeah.
decide which way they wanted to go. I would assume because I don't know, but I'll say this: it didn't hurt that I knew my daughter worked there, and it didn't hurt. But but still, I mean, my manager had to work hard to get me the part because I'm sure there was a lot of other people up for it. But in
Yeah.
the end, they made the right choice. And I'm so
Okay.
happy to be a part of it because the movie is so adorable, and Kiki and SZA, their chemistry is just just
Yeah.
spot on, and they're having, excuse me, so much fun. And Lawrence did a great job directing the movie, and it's just it's doing well, and it hasn't even gone overseas yet, so we're looking forward to some great turnout.
Okay. Yeah, look, I love the movie. It was amazing.
Hmm.
So I know you just recently completed a 6 month run on Broadway in a hit Tony Award nominated production, Pearly Victorious. Can you tell us about that and how was that experience?
Well, I started on Broadway. I started in theater.
Mm,
And like I did two Broadway shows 40 something years ago, but I've never stopped doing theater.
mm,
Dreamgirls, which was a hit, my second Broadway show. My first Broadway show was called Bring Back Birdie, and
mm,
we opened on a Thursday and we closed on a Saturday. We were actually booed at intermission, and the show closed right away. So it was very nice to come back to Broadway after 40 something years, and especially, you know, this time in my life, I had been wanting to come back to Broadway, and I had been praying. I've been secretly praying to God that something would bring me back to Broadway, and it did. And Kenny Leon is an amazing director and a human being, and just I love him and I love working with him. And he called me. Actually, he texted me. He didn't even call me. He texted me and asked me if I would do this. And I was like, "Are you kidding? I'll drop everything I'm doing to come back." you know. And Leslie Odom Jr., of course, is like, and so they flew me in to do readings and stuff. That was like March of 2023. And then next thing I knew, I was August of 2023. I was in New York starting rehearsals, and we opened in September. We ran to last February of 2024 is when we closed. So it was a great experience. It was great to be back on Broadway and to see a lot of my friends. And I go to New York all the time though, because I used to live in New York, and so I go to New York a lot. But it was nice to be back in the city like that for 6 months. Living there again, and just everything that I remember from like I did in my younger years when I lived in New York. And it's great. And I look forward to going back, hopefully with an even bigger part and better part on Broadway. I would definitely go back if the right piece came my way.
Did
I
it
would.
feel did it feel different from like the past on to now, or was it still
I
the
mean,
same?
only because of my age, it felt different, you
Mm,
know. but not really because I knew what to do. I knew how Broadway functions. I knew where I was. I know New York City well because, like I said, I lived there, and I also still go there a lot. So that I knew, and so it just felt different because I was older, more wiser, more seasoned,
Yeah,
But it was still a lot of fun. I mean, after the show, you go out and hang out with your friends, and it's a lot
yeah.
of fun.
I got you. I
My
got
dog
you.
hearing out, girl.
Bad donkey. Not playing. So I also want to talk another thing. You star and a producer of the hit, the BET series Black Hamptons. Can you tell me about that?
Well, they unfortunately we are not
Don't say.
back. Yes, that's sad. I
Uh,
know. Trust me, nobody cried more than me. Uh, well, because it was a good show and people love the show. People come to me all the time. I mean, even yesterday, somebody came to me and they told me how much they love the show.
mm,
But I don't have anything to do with that. BT was in. I don't know what they're doing, selling BT, and they're going some transitional issues within the company, and so they canceled us. So yes, but it was a great experience. And tried Destin, who is the production company on it. They were great people to work with. I've worked with them before, and um, they called and offered me the role because I have worked with them before when they were beginning and they were, doing their thing, starting up. I believed in them, and I was there for them, and so that was nice that when people remember your contribution, and then when it's time that they can actually do something for you, because so many people in this business will you'll do stuff for them for free or
yeah,
nothing, and they swear that they got you and they never do. So
yeah.
I've learned, no, they don't, they never do. So I've
Fake
learned,
industry
I do something
friends.
for somebody, I do it because I want to do it for them, because I want to help you, not because I'm expecting anything in return, because your feelings will get hurt. And Tridestin was like one of the very few, I should say, people that I've actually helped. Like when they were starting out and didn't have no money and they were trying to do, projects. And I said, sure, I'll come do it. I'm open this week. Just, shoot me out. And, and I did a few times for them, and I like them. I
Mhm.
thought, and I watched them grow. And so watching them grow was exciting. And they're very nice people in general. But I also saw the tenacity and the drive that they had to make their company good. That everybody's got to start somewhere, and they
Yeah.
didn't want to stay there. That some people are lazy and try to be shisty, and so their companies
Mhm.
never really become quality companies, production companies. But I saw them grow, and when Black Hamptons came up, they just basically called me and said, "Hey, this is a part you wanted," and I said, "Absolutely." So
Give it to me.
so I mean, they've been a lot to me because they played it back. They played. They reciprocated. So, but I'll work with them again, hopefully in the future for something else. But it was a great time. It was a great show, and it's just unfortunate we didn't get a chance to get at least another good season out. And but the viewers like it, so it's BET's loss. That's really
Yeah, in fact, I hate
you
when they be canceling the good
lost.
show.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
really like that show, but you can't cry with spilled milk because ain't nothing I can do about it. So I've moved
Right.
on.
So I
I
also see
I'm shooting
you. Oh,
two
go ahead.
of Vince Staples shows right now.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. For say you currently in the second season of the Ben Staples show. Tell us about that.
yeah, we're as we speak. As a matter of fact, I'm just home on a little break. I got to go back and finish up. It's a lot of. If you thought season one was something, baby, this is season two is funny.
Mhm.
But it's great. I love it. I love working with Vince. I have so much respect for that young man. He's just on it. He understands that the show is his name, and it's a reflection of his name. He's witty. He's got an interesting mind, the way it works with his comedy, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun this season. I can't wait for people to see it because I really think people are going to get a crack up out of it. And my character, she is, woo, baby, woo, that's a
Say she whoop.
mama here, woo, mama something else. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, man, I
She's a
can't wait
hot
to see
mess,
it.
honey.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. So I wanted to ask you something, something that I respect. You've been married to your anesthesiologist husband, Dr. Tony Calloway, for 36 years. What is the secret? Because you see all these people break it up all the time. What is the secret?
I don't think there is a secret. I think everybody has their own secrets, but
Mm,
but the things that are mutual to me is, of course, you got to like each other to begin with. I
mm,
mean, you can love people, but sometimes you don't like them,
mm.
and I think you got to like your husband because I mean, you love your kids,
Yes.
but sometimes I didn't like my kids. But that was real talk.
Yeah, I got you.
I
I got
always
you.
loved
I
them,
got you.
but sometimes I didn't like them very much. I used to ask some of my friends if your kids weren't your kids and if you were their age, would you want to be their friend? Right,
Yeah.
right. Would you want to be your kid's friend
Mm,
if you were their age in
yeah, I
high school
got
or
you.
middle
I
school or
got
whatever?
you. I got
Would that be a kid that you would be drawn to be friends with? And sometimes the answer is nope, especially high school. Especially to high school, like that was one girl I probably would run away from. Like, yeah, I'm not messing with you, But so it's the same thing. As like I love my husband, but I gotta like him because
Yeah.
love fluctuates, and it's okay, because the love, the insatiable love that you have when you first meet, it doesn't stay that way 36 years later.
Mm,
Where you just scrub it all over each other. It changes, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I think people think that change means bad. No, it just means that it grows, and if you guys are growing in the same lane with sometimes one person might be here, one person might be there. They catch up, might do this, but you always end up coming back together, and it's okay to change because that's just life. And if you could change with that person and still respect them and support their growth and grow along too, then that's the one thing I think that is a mutual thing that helps it work. And one of the things also for me that's very important, and I know this to be true, everybody's got to wake up and have somewhere to go.
yeah.
Because if you have one person that ain't got nothing to do, ain't got
Oh man.
that gets rough. Because after a
Yeah.
while, they're depending too much on you to entertain them, and then it becomes like, well, you ain't come home. Like, get a life.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be busy in your marriage. This person can be busy and that person can be busy there. You come back, you ain't
Yeah.
got always step on each other. But then when you are, it's nice.
Yes.
Like he ain't
Yeah.
home right now. He out being a doctor. I guess, maybe
Yeah.
I mean, he gets off of work early. Sometimes we have other businesses here run and do stuff for the business. He
Yeah.
might come home and I'll be gone, and it's
Yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
just you gotta have something to do because if you got one person that's there waiting for the other person all
Mm,
the time, that could be a problem because
mm,
it's just like it's nothing to do. So I think that's important, and of course communication. Obviously, that's an easy one. If you don't talk to each
yeah.
other, you don't know what's going on, and if you have a problem, you need to air it out. Um, but I don't think there's a secret sauce. I
Mhm.
just think it's a lot of different elements that if you agree upon, that you can work through just about anything. And then the thing too is that when we said "to death do us part," we kind of meant it.
Mhm.
We're like,
Mhm.
where we gonna go? Where am I gonna go? He's like, where is he gonna go? He's like, when we be joking, he said, the last thing I'm doing is buying another house and moving out, living somewhere. So it's like, we're kind of in it for like the long haul.
Yeah. I
So,
like I like that.
I mean, where we gonna go? What we gonna do? Ain't no, I ain't trying to find no new husband. I don't even want to have to date nobody right now. Are you kidding me? I feel sorry for my age that are out there trying to date and find somebody. I think it's
Mm,
important. I think they should. I don't think
yeah.
they should give up. I absolutely do. And I have girlfriends who we're trying to get them, meeting people.
Mm.
But I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Said I wouldn't even know where to begin at it. Oh
What's
man.
your favorite color? What sign are you? I don't know.
Like really? No.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Miss Vanessa. On your journey, you've been in the industry for a long time. What would you say has been your greatest challenge?
Hmm. Well, I would say a challenge that just never goes away is always getting that next gig. I don't
Mm,
know if it's the greatest challenge.
mm,
As I told you before, it was challenging to do that one woman play. as
Yeah.
far as creatively. But I think the
Yeah.
challenge is staying relevant, current, and securing that next gig.
Mm,
That's always challenging. You
yeah.
get a job, great, but then halfway through that job, it's like, what am I doing next? What's
Mm,
my next job?
yeah.
Because those jobs come and go, and the years pass, and you did that five. All of a sudden, something that was hot now it's 5 years old. What have you done
Yeah.
since then? You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
would say that's what's challenging is continually being current and working and out and present and and viable and you know
I got you. So on the flip side of that, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment?
my children,
Mm,
being a mother.
mm,
I mean, I wasn't perfect, but I think I did a pretty darn good job. My girls
mm,
are solid; they're great, and I have two birth daughters and a daughter I didn't give birth to, but so I have like three. I have three daughters, and they they're not perfect human beings either, but they're pretty solid. They're good. They graduated from school. One got her master's. One's going to get her master's. One's married. And, but they got jobs. They got ambitions. They're nice people. They work hard. They've always worked. They're not slackers.
mm.
They've always worked. Even like in high school, they were working right. When they got graduated from high school, they got jobs.
It's like
Or
you could have
before
worked.
college. And once they
Mm,
got into college, they had jobs and went to college.
mm,
Although we paid for their school, they didn't have to pay for school, but they still worked. They
mm.
still had stuff to do in the summers, and so
Yeah.
it's been my greatest joy being their mother. It's been a privilege to be their mother, and I just hope that I did as good as I think.
I'm sure you did. So, now let me ask you this: what advice would you give, like anybody who's trying to get in this industry, especially now?
Run like hell.
You
Go into
better
real
run
estate.
for it. Run for no.
Go get your finance degree, honey. Uh, anything else. But if you must do this, I'll say, and I always say this to people, stay ready to be ready.
Mm,
And that means different things to different people, but things aren't going to correct themselves overnight. So I'm going to just give you an example. If you feel like you need to lose 10 pounds, if you don't think your teeth need fixing, maybe you don't like your hair, maybe you need some more acting classes because you really aren't that great yet, then do it. Take care of those things. Because what I do know is that when the door opens, it opens fast and that stuff happens quick. And
mm,
if you're not ready, they're not going to wait on you to be ready. So,
mm.
and if you get a job on Friday and you still need to lose 10 pounds, you're still going to be 10 pounds heavy on Monday.
Yes.
Are
Facts.
you fixing? They still going to need fixing on Monday.
Mm,
So, whatever it is your thing is that you feel you can make yourself better and more appealing and more marketable, then do it now. Don't wait. So that
mm,
when that door opens, you can kick it down and people will take you seriously because and it happens out of nowhere. I can't tell you how many times nothing was going on and I get a call. I go in to meet a producer and literally I'm on my way to a costume fitting after the meeting. Or the very next day I'm on set. Seriously.
that's
The very
good.
next morning I'm on set shooting something.
Mm,
So you don't sometimes you get noticed and a lot of times you don't.
mm.
So you got to be ready. You got to always be ready.
Okay. So, Miss Vanessa, do you have anything else coming up that you want to promote?
Do I have anything else coming on I want to promote? I think that's about it right now. Yeah, that's about it
Okay.
right now. Mhm.
Okay. So, can you let the people know if they want to get in contact with you or see what's going on? Where can they find you?
Well, I hate Facebook. I'm going to cancel that out. So don't Facebook me. Just only a fan page. I hate Facebook. Never been a Facebooker, but I do Instagram. So that's my name, Vanessa Calloway. I hate Twitter. I don't do Twitter. So although I got rid of that account, but people still list that I do. And I have a website that's just for viewing some products I've done, things I've directed and created. But I would say Instagram, just Vanessa Calloway, at Vanessa Calloway Instagram. Follow me there.
Okay. Well, my last question that I love to ask all my guests: when it is all said and done, and you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the people to know about Vanessa Bell Calloway?
Wow, I think that's a question we all ask ourselves. And sometimes we have a list of things we like to be said, but I think what people say and what they know is that I'm real, I'm very much a real person. I'm nice. I love people. I love hard, and people that I love, and I'm always bringing people in and connecting people. So, just that I was a uniter, and that I love people and I love life. I guess, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. I love that answer. Well, I want to thank you, Mrs. Vanilla. I would say Mrs. Vanilla, Mrs. Vanessa
Teddy
Calloway.
bear on your sleeve?
Huh?
Is that a teddy bear on your sleeve?
Yes,
What?
yes, yes. See?
Oh,
Try to have my own style, you know.
okay.
Well, no, I thank you for this interview. I appreciate it, and I would definitely keep you posted when I, publish this, write an article about you, and publish this on our platform.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, you have a rest of a good
You too.
day, and I appreciate you. Talk to you
Take
later.
care. Bye
Bye.
bye.